So USA, they win their first 2 games. They go ape shit on Brazil, 15-5, then beat Great Britain 9-1. Congrats, guys. Combined scores of 24-6, so stomp the first 2 teams. Then they beat Mexico and go 3-0. Their manager, Mark DeRosa, goes on MLB Network and says, quote, "We want to win this game, even though our tickets punched to the quarterfinals." Their tickets were not punched to the quarterfinals, right? So the USA didn't clinch. Mark DeRosa, who's a analyst for MLB Network, goes on MLB Network and says, "Tickets punched, guys. Mission accomplished. We're going to the next round. We can kind of chill this game." Unbeknownst to him, the ticket was not punched at all. So goes into the game. He sits Alex Bregman, sits Byron Buxton, sits Bryce Terang, and sits Bryce Harper. So he rests some of the stars. Before the game, he tells the media that the team was up past midnight drinking and celebrating. There were some, quote, "guys dragging today." So he publicly says that the team was out partying, basically. Partying might be a stretch because he made it seem like we were just having some beers in the clubhouse. But, alluding to the guys staying up late the night before a game. And this is just a great example of why it's different for Team USA, the other countries. This happened in 2023. So in 2023, Team Korea Mitchell squad, 3 players went to a bar after 2 of their games in WBC. So when they were in Tokyo, a couple of their players went to a bar after a game, right? Someone sees them at the bar. They report that these 3 players went to the bar. The KBO did an investigation on these guys. Okay, they went FBI, like fucking NSA type shit. They get written reports from each player on the team. So every player on the Korean national team has to write a written statement about what they know and what these guys did after these 2 games. So they conclude that these 3 players went to the bar after the game 2 times. They said it was the snack bar though, right?
They said it was the snack bar.
They
said they weren't even drinking.
They were going to the snack bar. I love the translation sometimes, but it makes like Korean and Japanese stuff just seem so lame. It's like, what do you do after we go to the
Korea? They're big drinkers too.
I know.
This whole controversy, as someone who is not very Korean, is like, well, they drink a lot, so I'm confused why this is such a big deal.
Bro, I was going through some of the Japanese articles about this and going to the comments. They were so mad. Like the fans of Korea were like, "This is a disgrace to the country. You don't do this. These guys need to be banned from baseball." I'm not even kidding. That was the public sentiment going on for these guys drinking a couple beers after the game. So the KBO investigates them. One of the players gets fined 5 million won, which is only $3,000, $4,000. Has to do 80 hours of community service, and they take him off the All-Star game for having a couple beers after the game. The other 2 guys had to pay fines and complete 40 hours of community service. So that's the difference. Team USA is just joking about drinking after the game. Korea, you're getting suspended from the team. Now, do I really think that made a big difference? Guys can't have a couple beers after the game? No, it's not a big deal. Okay? I had a couple beers after the Mexico game as well. I'm not gonna lie. I was in Utah, bro. 5% beers.
If you look at his face, you can see sunburn around his eyes from the goggles.
I was skiing out there in Utah, bro. They got beers there, bro. I had some after Mexico. I needed it, But I do think it's a little, it makes you look bad when you kind of brag about going out and drinking and celebrating a win, and then you have to play the next day, and then you don't realize that you actually also kind of have to win this game too, and you're bragging about drinking the day before. I mean, that's the thing about Mark DeRosa. I've said this before about him. Guy kind of rubs me the wrong way because I just feel like he wants to be everyone's friend, and you need a little bit more of a hard-ass manager. I'm sorry, but I think Mark DeRosa, you need to replace him. No, maybe not, but okay. I would like to see Mark DeRosa be replaced.
I don't understand why DeRosa is the manager of this team. I don't think managers in this tournament make that much of a difference. But the U.S. coaching squad has former managers on it. And they have guys who have been on coaching staffs. But D-Row is the guy who gets the manager tab. That's what I don't get.
He's just a likable guy. Should have been Dusty Baker. Someone like Dusty would be perfect. I don't know. I just think he comes off to me like he just wants to be everybody's friend. And it's like, he's like, "Bryce, what's up, Bryce? Oh, Judgy. You're the man, Judgy. Oh, look at Gunner." You know what I'm saying? Like, you need a little bit more. I feel like dad energy. He's got uncle energy. You need dad or grandfather energy as a manager. Uncle energy is not what, in my opinion, that's not what you need. Can you clip? That's actually a great thing that they need to put in the rule books when they're hiring managers. It's like, is it uncle energy or is it dad energy or is it granddad energy? Because you can get away with granddad. You don't want to be too much granddad. You get like a Snicker situation, getting mad about Pat Flynn. See, that's uncle energy out there.
I don't know if they can hear it, but there's just a guy screaming outside.
We're in a different void today. Last void, no windows to the outside. This void,
Bro's
windows to the outside.
literally singing it in the rain.
To a DC alley, baby.
Let's go. Most powerful city in America, by the way. Anyway, so DeRosa got uncle energy. We need more of a granddad. We need more of a father energy. According to Ken Rosenthal, DeRosa says he later found out that they had not advanced when they got to the stadium later that day, and everyone went in the game knowing they had to win. So according to Rosenthal, or at least, and I never saw DeRosa say this himself, I just read this in the Athletic article, that DeRosa, by the time he gets to the stadium, realizes, okay, I was wrong. We have not moved on. We need to win this game to move on, and everyone knows that going to this game. However, no one believes that, and Mitchell's about to say he doesn't believe it, based on these managerial moves in the game. So Cal Raleigh sits, Bryce Harper sits, Alex Bregman sits, Bryce Terang sits. He starts Nolan McLean. He only has 8 MLB starts. I think he was probably going to start no matter what. He was like the last starter available. Nolan McLean gives up 2 home runs, allowing 3 runs. Sorry, yes. He gives up 2 homers, allows 3 runs. He replaces him with Ryan Yarbrough, who gives up another home run and 3 more runs. So we're off the bat, we're getting dicked by Italy, a team that is not better than us, on paper at least. Brad Keller comes in, gets a double play ball right at him, throws it into the center field. This leads to 3 more runs after he throws a wild pitch. So Brad Keller really, screwed the pooch on this one. So at one point, USA is down 8 runs, okay, to Team Italy. And this is bad because a loss here, everyone's tied at 3-1. You got you got Italy, Mexico, and USA. If USA loses to Italy, they're 3-1. Italy's 3-1. Mexico's 3-1. Right?
Italy would be 3-0. Mexico is at 2-1.
Yes.
Every team has the potential to be 3-1.
Exactly. So you're right. So now there's a scenario that if Italy loses to Mexico the next day, based on run differential, USA is out of the tournament. And so at this point, every run matters because it goes down to how many runs you allow. USA had already given up 8 runs at this point. You can't give up any more runs. They put David Bednar in the game, gives up back-to-back singles, then hits a guy. So the bases are loaded. Who does he have warming up in the bullpen?
Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw, who they've already established is a, quote, break in case emergency guy, only going to be in blowouts. The guy's retired. They're literally warming up a guy who's retired. He doesn't play baseball anymore. You know what I'm saying? And you can't give up any more runs. They have Mason Miller available in the bullpen, but they don't warm him up. Now, everyone points to this as being the bullshit reason why DeRosa didn't know it, but like, if you see, we'll get to it later. Bednar gets out of the jam. It's fine. Mason Miller could not pitch more than 1 inning. That's a restriction based on his team, right? Right? That's from the team. That's not like a WBC
I think
rule.
they might have even had something that was like, you can't have him pitch in the middle of an inning. Like, he needs a clean inning.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's true, but I think
So
that might have been.
Mason Miller could not pitch more than 1 inning, for sure. We know that. David Bednar was on a 25-pitch limit, so he escaped the jam with 24 pitches. If he throws 25 pitches, you have to bring Clayton Kershaw in. And DeRosa knows these are rules, restrictions put in place by these teams. So everyone thinks like this was the dumbest managerial move of all time, not putting Mason Miller in, warming up Kershaw, whatever. And it is really dumb, but the only reason he had to do it is because the team restrictions.
Were there any, I know this is my job, but I don't know off the top of my head. Were there any relievers who were off limits because they pitched against Mexico? Like, was Griffin Jax just not able to be used?
Yeah, I bet. I read in the Athletic article that they had no pitchers after Kershaw. Like Kershaw was the last guy available. Now, technically, all those relievers could have pitched. I believe last tournament in 2023, USA had some pitchers like basically ignore their team's rules and pitch anyway. And there was, DeRosa, I remember had to go. They were like on the phone line scrambling, trying to get the teams to reverse the rules. But, as dumb as Mark DeRosa seems making these moves, and as dumb as he was saying this shit he said on TV leading up to the game, it's uncle energy. He just wants to drink beers with the boys and move on to the next round. It's not really his fault when it comes to the managerial moves. Like, I don't think there's a possible scenario where he really didn't know the rules. Like, I think I find that super hard to believe, which as much as it'd be funny, I'm saying he's such a fucking idiot. Everyone loves to call everyone an idiot. You really think that Mark DeRosa went into that game not knowing the scenario that they could be eliminated?
I think there is a scenario.
There's
I think
a chance?
he was slow with some changes, and some of his substitutions didn't make a lot of sense. He wasn't trying to go for like runs at the end, or
Like in
until
what?
like late.
Like
There
in
was
what
one
way?
scenario where Paul Goldschmidt gets on base, and
Yes.
you could argue whether or not he should have been pinch hit for by Bryce Harper. But then instead of using like a guy like Buxton or Terang as a pinch runner for Goldschmidt, he just brings in Terang as a pinch hitter for Clement, where you could have, played around with it. You could have pinch hit Buxton or Harper for Clement and then brought in Terang to play second. Terang's a lot faster than
But yeah, you should have
Goldschmidt.
pinch ran Goldschmidt.
And then there
and then-
was a double by Terang.
Uh-huh.
The pinch hitter paid off. But then you have a guy like Paul Goldschmidt, who's one of the slowest runners in the league, and he can't get home. Didn't matter because Crow Armstrong ended up hitting a 3-run bomb. But like he wasn't playing for that specific run.
Yes, that is true. I don't know if there's any frickin' rule coming from their major league teams that's preventing him from making that move. So that was a bad move. I just find it so hard to believe that he did not know that they weren't going through. Would it be an all-time stupid fucking thing to happen?
I also feel like in the early part of the game, he brings out Ryan Yarborough, and Yarborough pitches two and a third innings, and he's not pitching very well.
Well, they can't
Run-
replace. They only have they had 4 pitchers left.
I don't.
They ran out of pitchers at the end.
Brad Keller could pitch more than 2/3 of an inning.
Well, didn't Brad Keller give up 3 runs and throw a ball into center field and fucking wild pitch it out?
Aside from the error,
That guy was.
you can't say that error happens if he pitches 2 innings earlier.
Yeah, well, either way, DeRosa definitely took it easy. I think he went in that game saying it's Italy, we're going to smack them no matter what, which, listen, can you blame him really? Team Italy's offense has a total 14.8 career WAR. Their manager has more career WAR than the entire offense. That's Francisco Cervelli, and he's not really the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? You don't think Francisco Cervelli, best player ever. Their manager is better than the whole team. As a whole team, United States has 612 WAR, okay? Italy's entire roster has 2 All-Star appearances. The United States have 62 All-Star appearances. Italy has no Cy Youngs, no Gold Gloves, not 1 MVP, no Silver Sluggers, no Rookie of the Year awards. The United States has 6 Cy Youngs, 13 Gold Gloves, 7 MVPs, 21 Silver Sluggers, and 4 Rookie of the Years, and they lost to Team Italy. Like I said, Mark DeRosa is getting all the blame for this one. Afterwards, he says, we knew that Mexico was going to play Italy, and then running all the numbers if we lost tonight with the runs allowed and runs scored and no outs, so I just misspoke, which, he wasn't very direct, but he says at one point that he misread the shit and misread the data and thought they advanced, but then it seems here that he says he realized later that that wasn't the case.
Between his appearance on MLB Network and him going into the press conference, he clearly did learn that he was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, when did he find out? Did he find out
Yes.
before the game? Did he find out in the 5th inning, the 6th inning, the 7th inning? And then, because in the 7th inning, it really did feel like, oh, he's now they're trying to score runs.
He's playing beer pong in the clubhouse instead of looking at the numbers. I misread the data.
To be fair, though, I do think it's hard to project how many runs would need to be scored if you lose to Italy. to then find out how you needed to be eliminated. Because I was texting you and I was like, you can't know for sure the run difference that Mexico and Italy can have until the game is over.
Yes. I mean, yeah, the whole thing, the calculations going into like if you're advancing in a run differential, runs allowed, then it goes to this. It's like, it's super complicated.
It's not even a run differential. It's a runs allowed per out versus only the teams that are involved in the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And so
That's why you need a guy who's not Mark DeRosa in charge of the numbers. Okay, if you heard Mark DeRosa talk, he's not, doesn't seem like a math guy. He seems like more of a
feel guy.
He's a sports guy.
I've been around baseball my whole life kind of guy.
He's a sports guy, bro. He's not a math guy, and I'm not a math guy either. But you need some math guys on the staff to do the freaking math. He didn't have a guy doing the math for him. It had screwed him over. So he goes on MLB Network and he does this interview. So that interview he did initially before the game on MLB Network starts going viral. Once people realize like what is going on, USA might get eliminated. The managers said they were moving on, and now obviously they're not moving on. So this goes viral. MLB Network deletes the interview, makes it worse for him because now they're trying to hide his tracks and make the dumbest excuse ever. What they say? They didn't want to confuse the fans. So they had to delete the interview because DeRosa said before the game that the USA was moving on. Now they weren't moving on. If people saw that afterwards, they could get confused. So, to not confuse the viewers, they deleted the interview. Do you feel like he called them and was like, yo, delete that?
They claimed it was like a lower level employee. And I just think there's a chance someone at midnight who worked for MLB Network was like, oh, shoot, I got to take this offline.
Dude, I can see DeRosa making a call.
You think he called some like low dude who he knew had the login? He's just like, do me a favor, delete the video. I'll give you DeRosa's not. I don't think he has enough money to be making bribes.
He doesn't have to bribe them. They all like him, dude. It's like, if you posted something on BDE, I could say delete it and you delete it, no? Or if I posted something, I guess that's different. but if I posted something
the chain of command is a lot smaller here.
If I posted something on Jack and then you could see Jack's butt in it and then he was like, dude, can you delete that? I'd probably delete it. Saying?
I'd be cool with that though.
Yeah, if Jack said some really mean, some messed up stuff on this pod and he goes, yo, bro, you should probably delete that clip maybe. I'd probably be like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. So that's just the type of boss I am, but I don't know what they got at MLB Network. They're trying to get each other's backs, but it backfired because now everyone knows they're covering up their tracks. And it was just a whole big embarrassment for Team USA, basically. So then going after that game, now the scenario is USA can get eliminated. There was, a pretty decent chance they could. Italy would have to lose to Mexico, and Mexico would have to beat Italy, but score less than 5 runs. So if Mexico wins, and it's a low-scoring game, then Mexico goes, Italy goes, USA is out. Theoretically, they could have just agreed to not score runs, and they could have both advanced. That would be very what's the word?
Sportsmanlike?
Unsportsmanlike. They'd probably get banned from everything. That'd be pretty funny, though. That wouldn't be funny, but...
I think fixing a World Baseball Classic game would be pretty funny, though.
I think it would be bad for the sport, personally.